Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to take a look at just fixing a few of the issues that are kind of nagging away. I have some problems with how the fur still looks here on the forearms as well as on the top of the hands. There's also some issues underneath the hands. We don't see it right now with these groom guides, but we do see it when the primitives are created. There's just kind of this weird stubbly effect on the palm. And overall, I just want to go ahead and start adding maybe a little asymmetry to the fur. Now, I'm just going to show you the techniques I use. I'm probably going to spend, I'd say, at least 20 or 30 minutes just kind of going through later on in the, well, kind of later on and during this tutorial, but obviously in between lessons, and just go through and kind of really fine tune all the fur. But I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. So it's pretty much all just busy work. So first thing we should do is probably get rid of that light from the last lesson. I was just showing you how it looked. It's just going to slow us down. So I'll go ahead and delete that. We didn't really place it very carefully anyway. It was just kind of there for the sake of seeing how cool the fur looks with Viewport 2.0. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly visualize what this looks like as primitives. I'm going to go ahead and hide the guides. Just come here to grooming and hide those. There we go. And let's go ahead and preview that. We'll kind of zoom out just a bit so we can preview all of it. Give that just a moment. Okay. So, doesn't look bad, but there are, again, a few issues that I have. Notice it is moving a bit slow. Again, we have 140 here. That's really asking quite a bit of it, even without lights. But it's enough for me to at least kind of see what's going on here. Or rather, it's moving fast enough for me to see. I think the fur actually isn't horrible here. There seems to be some strange inconsistencies with the length. I just want to make sure that evens out a bit. It looks worse in the guides than it actually looks in the final fur. I don't, however, like this weird stubble over here, so I want to go ahead and shrink that down. There's also some kind of strange issue over here. We could see we kind of have this weird almost kind of cutaway, so I want to go ahead and smooth that down. And again, what I really want to do is add some asymmetry to the fur. And again, just fine-tuning things, longer in areas, shorter in others, just make it look a little bit more interesting. With the back, I'm actually fairly happy. I like the longer fur up here on the shoulder blades, the shorter fur along the back. All I'm really going to do here is, again, just add some asymmetry. So to make this function a little quicker, I'm going to go ahead and drop this down to about 80 instead of 140. Let's go ahead and preview that. There we go. That's much, much faster, worlds faster. So looking over here, let's fix this problem first, this weird stubbly thing over here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off of update automatically. Looks like I already did. And we'll go ahead and clear that out, jump over to our groom guides, and turn on visibility. Now, chances are this is the issue of the length. I just added a little bit too much there, and probably a bit of it existed inside of my density map. That's pretty easy to fix. We're just going to grab our length brush over here. And we'll go ahead and make sure this is set to an increment of -1 or -0.1 and a goal length of 0. And we're going to come in here and just shrink my brush a bit. We're just going to shrink that down just a bit. Have it end right at the palms there. There we go. Might feel a little like a Halloween costume, but should do the job for now. I'm going to shrink this down here just for visual purposes, but again, it doesn't really matter because the density map doesn't have any fur there, so none will be created. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a quick mirror across the surface. So we're going to go from left to right. So we're going to flip to the right. There we go. And let's go ahead and generate the fur and see if we fix that problem. We'll go ahead and hide these groom guides again. Just turn off the visibility there. Display that. There we go. And a little bit of an issue up here on the thumb, but for the most part, that's pretty good. I don't mind the little bit here. That doesn't bother me. So let's go ahead and turn the visibility back on, and I'm just going to shrink down a little bit more, right over there. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn that off and regenerate. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So we fixed that issue. Let's go ahead and see if we can address this fur over here on the tops of the hands. I'll go ahead and clear this out, turn on our visibility. So I think there's a multiple kind of fold issue here. First of all, I've added too much noise, too much length variation. And honestly, as the fur gets longer and longer, it's actually harder to control. That's one of my kind of gripes with this, is that we don't have any actual vertex control, at least none that I've been able to find. The actual vertex controls here under the utilities, for example, things like CV selection and stuff, don't actually work on the fur. They have to work on actual guides, hair guides. Sorry, grooming over here. So there's no easy way to actually get these to flow the way I want them. So again, lawn fur tends to be a little tedious. I'm just going to go ahead and try, though, to first kind of fix this, kind of even it out with the smooth, and then we're going to comb it around a little bit. I'm going to turn my mask down to maybe 0.25, just so I have a little bit less to have to worry about over here. And let's go and grab, let's just do probably just the pose over here, and we're just going to kind of almost start from scratch just by reposing this first. Go, just kind of bring that all down and forward. We'll kind of bring some of this up here too. And you can see there's this weird cut over here. Smooth is going to be good for fixing that. We'll make sure it's doing quite a bit for the length over there. And let's go ahead and adjust that. Go ahead, maybe get a slightly larger brush. I think it's actually gotten a little too short here. I'm going to give it a little pop in elevation to make sure. It's not horrible, but I definitely think we could use a bit more length there now. Go ahead and use the length brush, do an increment of 0.1, up our goal to maybe 2. And let's just gently see if we can get those to blend a little bit better. Need a little bit more length there. Let's try 3. Okay. And I think I might need to come in here and use smooth again. And by the way, as I'm doing this, I'm probably reintroducing hair on the palm here. I probably should have done that second, but it's easy enough to fix now. Here we go. That's almost kind of smoothed out there now. Okay, I'm going to introduce a little extra noise now just to kind of mess those up, since they've been kind of a little, become a little too regular, a little too straight. There we go. And I might actually even use my repel a little bit to kind of just open them up a bit, kind of like that blow dryer effect we talked about. I do kind of want that on most of this arm as well. I want this to feel just a little bit bushier than the rest. A little more ape-like. Okay, I'll grab this length brush again. We'll put this at -1 increment. And we'll put, again, the goal length at 0. And let's just shrink this down. Okay, make sure that's all nice and short there. Okay. All right, let's see how this looks. I'll go ahead and turn off my guides. And let's do a quick test. Okay, still need to fix a bit there, but I think the fur looks much better here now. It blends way better into the rest of the arm. Okay, I'm going to go ahead then and flip this over. So we're going to go ahead and flip to the right. There we go. And now let's just add some asymmetry. This is relatively easy. I'm going to go ahead and do probably some noise. So we'll grab that. I'm going to bring the probably the tip noise a little bit higher. Leave the width fairly low. Offsets, I think that's fine. Yep, I think we'll just now get a nice big brush. And we're just going to come through here and add a little bit of variety. Oops, I forgot to fix this issue there. I'll do that in just a moment. Remember, we had that weird little kind of cut. I'm going to go ahead and just run through the surface here and, again, just create a little bit of randomness so the fur doesn't look so similar everywhere. So I'm just using my mouse for this. I'm not using the Wacom tablet right now because it's literally just kind of clicking in, excuse me, some noise. I'm also going to grab my elevation brush over here, and I think I'd like to, pop the fur out in a few key areas. Let's make it a little more interesting. That includes kind of right there. Again, I'm doing this for both look, the actual sculpt, as well as to introduce some asymmetry because obviously different areas are being puffed up a little bit more. There we go. And what I'll even do is maybe grab the attract here. We'll set this to float and keep a fairly low magnitude. And let's look at kind of maybe a little higher magnitude, kind of clumping the center here just a tiny bit. There we go. So we can almost see that kind of line running through there. We'll use a bit of smooth so it doesn't look too kind of crossed over. There we go. And to fix this area here, again, just a little bit of smooth to kind of even that out. Length is probably going to play a big role in that weird cut over there that we had. And there we go. So let's go ahead and do one last test. Oops, let me shut off my guides. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and probably continue working on this for a bit, but when we come back in the next lesson, let's talk about beginning to apply some colors. We're not just using the same color fur on every part of the character. So I'll see you guys there.